Hello again, friends, and welcome to the third video of this detailed series, building a 3D environment in Blender and moving that into Unity to create a VR science lab. This one's going to be a lengthy video, so buckle up, grab a snack, and also I'm going to do the thing, hit the subscribe button if you find value, or hit the like button, or both. That'll really help build the channel. All right, now that that's out the way, let's go ahead with the next part of the video. So where we left off last time, we started building the cabinet doors. Now we're going to add a little bit of details to the cabinets. So let's start making a handle. We'll Shift A to add a cylinder. We'll S to scale. And if you do S to scale, and we only want to do X and Y, so if you do Shift Z, you can scale now on the X and Y axis and leave the Z alone. I kind of like the way this is set up. That looks appropriate. And we're going to make a mount, but we do a couple of things. Let's rotate this duplicate and shift select. Not that. Let's do it this way. And let's move this. So we're gonna move it on the X axis. Oh, and don't just press X. If you're not in the right space, it'll delete it. So let's Control Z to bring that back. Made a little mistake there. There you go. Control Z, it's back. Now G on the X. There we go. That's better. And let's scale this down so that it's right, and we'll move it to the appropriate location. So let's move that. Scale it on the X. Scale it down some more. There we go. I like that. And grab it, move it back a little bit. We'll put a modifier in here shortly to make the interaction between the mount and what's going to be the handle a little bit better. But for now, let's just Shift D, get the other one in an appropriate space. Move that down on the Z. So that's a decent looking handle. Let's dolly in there. So let's go to the handle. We'll go to the modifier. We're going to add the Boolean modifier, and then we'll use this little dropper here. And if you use the dropper, you can grab it, or we can look for the name, but it's all cubes and cylinders. So cylinder 01, that should be this one here. And basically what the Boolean modifier does is it makes it so you go through the other object. So if we grab it on the X, you can see it moves through. So the mount moves through the handle. Makes it look a little bit more like a flush item, in my opinion. And we'll do same thing, add another Boolean modifier, and then we'll select the other mount, the one at the bottom, and you see how it just made that adjustment. Now it looks like it's moving through. I also kind of use the Boolean modifier when I'm making like doorways and things like that, or windows. Alright, now we're going to start naming some of these items. Call it cab handle. And we'll name this one maybe like handle mount. And then 001. Do the 001 because now whenever we create a new object, it'll iterate. So you see this other one is 002. So and now every time I copy or duplicate, it'll iterate 002, 003, 004. We'll see that shortly. And now we're going to parent to objects so that the handles and the mounts are parent-child objects. So you want to hold shift to parent. You can see it says hold shift to parent. So we're going to hold shift, drag this up to the handle, and then now you see it moved. And now if I grab the handle, the mounts move with the handle. Alright, now from here I want to duplicate the handle, and that didn't do what I wanted it to do because it just did the handle and not the handle and mount. So let's go into the cabinet handle and we'll just shift all the way down here. So now we have the cabinet handle and both handle mounts. And now I'm going to duplicate, shift D on the Y, grab that over, and you see everything moved. And then same thing, we'll do it again. And one more time, shift D, we have another one. So we've got a couple of handles. I plan on building a few more doors, so this potentially will save us a step. So now let's move this handle. We'll selection to cursor, just to get it over here. And we'll move this back out on the X. So G on the X, and just move it away slightly to a good enough spot. And right about there looks good. We're not poking out anywhere. All right. So now we've got our handle and our door. Let's go ahead and rename our cabinet door. We'll do cab left door, and we're going to do the number again because we're going to duplicate these so it has the right number. Left door 001, 002, so on and so forth. We're going to name this, I'm going to make this into glass. So it's like a glass insert. So we'll name this maybe cap glass. And then just like we did with the handle and the mount, we're going to want to parent the object. So we're going to shift and grab and move the glass to the door. So we got cab left door, here's a cab glass. We're going to shift and drag the glass down to the left door. So shift, drag, left door 01, boom, and now it's in there. And we also want to parent-child, set a parent-child relationship with the handle. So we're going to grab the handle and shift, drag the handle to the left door. There you go. So now if you look, we have in the door, we have cab glass and cab handle. You see those little dots that are associated with it. And if we grab the door, the handle and the glass moves with the door. All right, so the next thing I'm going to want to do is we have the left door. So now I want to duplicate this door, and we'll make the right door. I'm going to shift D, duplicate, and immediately I made a mistake. So let's delete that. Let's grab the door and the glass. So we'll shift down to the glass. We'll keep the parented object, so cab, door, not the handle, not just yet, because we want a left handle, so we'll just shift to the glass, and then we'll duplicate, shift D, and then we'll move this over on the Y axis. And put it next to it. And now we'll grab one of these handles, put the handle in a similar spot here. So grab the handle. And I just noticed something. I'm probably going to want to rename my handles, but we'll get there in a moment. Selection of cursor to move it. We'll grab it on the X. In fact, we can do this a little bit more uniformly. I can see where the handle is on the X axis. Let's grab the handle. We'll just copy the x-axis from this handle, since the doors are in the same space on the y and x. Excuse me, on the x, not the y. And then we'll just paste this handle so they're in the same location. That way we control the depth on both to be uniform. And then to make sure that we're in a similar space, I'm going to think I'm just gonna measure. That might work. There's a little bit of a difference. I could always like move it to 0 and move from there, but we'll use some of the tools in here. So I use my little magnet snapping. We'll do it on the edge. Let's select this object. We'll start here and see where we are and use this as the example. And I need to actually select it. There we go. Now I got my magnet working. If you use this, it'll grab the edge, give us a rough idea of the distance. Might be a better way for me to do this, but this is how I feel comfortable doing it now. And now measure, and we're off by, it's like 0.0, 1.5, almost 2. So if I use my fingers and toes here, should be able to count up what I need to do. Might even use a calculator on the other screen. Abracadabra. And then let's just move this on the y-axis. It's like 0.0, like 1 something. Maybe we'll just go with like, yeah, wrong direction. Let's go up instead. Down, there we go. That's close enough. It'll be about as good as if I got it from a big box store. I'm happy with it. Now let's parent the handle to, let's rename some things, because this is a little confusing now. So these two, we're not going to need these. We're going to duplicate after we rename. So yeah, let's get rid of them. We actually want to get rid of the mounts too. So let's do it this way. Open it, and we're going to shift all the way down, and then open this one and shift all the way down. And now we have everything selected, and now we hit X to delete or delete. And then we're going to work with our left and right. So we don't have 2 left doors, we have 1 left door and we have 1 right door. So let's rename this door, instead of cab left door, we'll just call it cab right door. And then 001. And again, the 001, when we duplicate, it'll iterate. You'll see that in a moment. You probably see the examples on the handles. Maybe we rename these handles too, so that we can distinguish between each handle. Let's call it like candle, cab handle L for left and 001. And then we'll do something similar. We'll do cab handle, not candle, cab handle R for right, 001. That's good enough. The mounts, we don't really need to worry about the mounts, but we'll parent the handle and the mount to the right door. So shift drag. And that's wrong. Yeah, I meant to just parent the handle, not the mounts, because the mounts are parented to the handle already. So we're just doing the handle, shift drag. There we go. That's better, and that matches how the other one looks. And if I grab this, the door, it looks the way I need it to look. Yeah, much better. And you grab it, move it, and parents, I got my snap on still. All right, looks good. So let's duplicate this. In the interest of time, we're going to speed this up. Now, this isn't a paid advertisement or anything of the nature. I'm a relatively new to Blender and 3D modeling and all the other fun stuff there. And the polygonic, or however you pronounce it, has saved me so much time, because I can drag and drop textures and materials and environments and HDRIs. So right now we're going to kind of cheat. We're going to drop in some glass. Yes, we can do this, and we can add our own textures. We can even tweak the items in the that were provided in the various polygonic items that I've purchased. But something to consider as a new Blender user. There are some tools available to you to help save some time and save some of the headache, and you can learn a little bit faster with using some of the existing textures, in my opinion. So we added the glass. Now we're going to add some, let's call it brushed. There you go. I'm going to go down to the library and add some indoor lighting similar to the lighting that I would expect when I'm finished with this. Just drag and drop, not a bathroom. This looks pretty good. In the interest of the time, I sped up this portion of the video, but you can see it's super simple to use. The materials, at least in this scenario, I'm just going to drag some of the existing materials from Polygonic. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but using cherry wood, brushed aluminum, a polished concrete for the floor. I dropped in a HDRI, and then we'll work on the counters And you can see it's such an easy item to search for what you're looking for. I've built a few different scenes before, so I have a general idea of what I'm looking for. And then you can also make slight adjustments to the existing materials if you don't have exactly the hue or the opacity or the kind of the reflection or the the brightness, or you can make some of the adjustments in the material settings still to customize it to your liking, or you can look at what was already done and learn how to build it yourself. So I really love it. It was well worth the money. And this looks like my middle school science lab. Yeah, this looks really good. You see, I couldn't quite make up my mind which version I wanted to go with. I'm changing the roughness for kind of the reflection or the kind of the sheen. Let's see if I can get one that really reminds me of my AP Bio class in high school, or chemistry or something of that nature. But this looks pretty good. We're going to go with this. And I thank you again for joining me on this journey so far. On the next video, we'll probably add some more details and then start transitioning our way into Unity from here. Thanks so much.